The congressional district that covers most of the North Country, the fightin' 21st, as we say, is considered solidly red. Elise Stefanik has won here by landslides for years. But Republicans are getting a little nervous this time around because the primary to replace Stefanik features two candidates who are really going at each other and who could both end up on the ballot in November. They attacked each other hard last week in what was likely their only debate. That's today's story of the day.
Support for Story of the Day comes from the Wild Center in Tupper Lake, dedicated to strengthening visitors' connections to the natural world. More at wildcenter.org.
Hey, I'm David Sommerstein. It's Monday, June 1st. First up, the village of Tupper Lake scored a huge win in this year's state budget. It got $12.5 million to help fix a water issue that's plagued the village for more than a decade. Emily Russell was on Northern Light this morning with Monica Sandreski to explain why it's such a big deal.
It's hard to overstate how much this means to the village. Tupper Lake has struggled with its water since the early 2010s. This is a village of about 3,000 people. So when I saw the news last week that this funding made it into the state budget, I called up Mary Fontana. She's the mayor of Tupper Lake.
When I heard that we had made it into the budget and that the figure was $12.5 million, I did. I cried happy tears. My knees didn't quite hit the floor, but they came darn close. I never anticipated a figure that large to close such a huge funding gap that this community had.
So what was the problem to begin with? What's the root cause of Tupper Lake's water crisis?
Yeah, so for a long time, the village was getting its drinking water from two sources, Big Tupper Lake and Simon Pond. But about 15 years ago, health officials found that there were hazardous levels of certain contaminants in their drinking water. So they recommended that Tupper abandon those two surface water sources. And instead, the solution was to drill a couple of wells for groundwater.
So what happened when the village pivoted to groundwater?
So the village took on a $7 million debt for those two wells that it drilled. And for the first 18 months, they had good, clean drinking water. But then people started reporting that their water was coming out of the faucets brown. And the well water, it turned out, was high in iron and manganese, which was causing that kind of discoloration. Plus, the village realized that those two new wells that it had drilled weren't even supplying enough water for all of its residents. So they actually had to bring one of their surface water sources back online. And remember, that surface water had contaminants in it. So Fontana, the village mayor, says that left them with two separate water issues, contaminants from the surface water and then discoloration from the well water. You know, that's despite all the money the village had spent on the new wells.
The village of Tupper Lake took on $7 million in debt, and the $7 million project did not bring solutions to our doorstep. It brought more problems.
Okay, so Tupper got this big money from Albany. How's the village moving forward now to fix these problems?
Fontana says they've determined that well water is the way to go. They just need to drill for more of it and have a way to treat it so that it's not brown when it comes out of the faucet. Engineers have identified 5 potential aquifers in the area, and they'll be drilling test wells in the next few weeks. And then to treat that well water, Tupper is planning to build a new water treatment plant. The technology at that plant will remove the iron and manganese that's been turning their well water brown for years now. The $12.5 million from this year's state budget won't pay for all of that, but it will cover most of the construction cost of the new system.
And how was Tupper Lake able to secure that money in the budget?
This issue has been on the radar of state and local leaders for as long as it's been a problem. And the village has had some success getting grant funding over the years here and there, but never the kind of money that's in this year's state budget. And Mary Fontana, the mayor of Tupper Lake, gives all the credit to Assemblyman Michael Cashman. He's a Democrat from the Plattsburgh area, and he's actually only been in office for about 6 months. But Fontana says he made Tupper Lake's water system a top priority, and it really paid off.
He summited Everest for this community. This is Tupper Lake's victory, but this is Assemblyman Cashman's victory, and Tupper Lake will never forget the friendship and partnership he's shown us. For 7 years, my child has not been able to take a bath where the water ran out of our faucet clear. And with his help, she should be able to.
You can hear the emotion in her voice there. It still could take up to 2 years to drill the new well and get the water treatment plant up and running. But Fontana says the end of this water saga is finally in sight with this new state funding.
That's our Adirondacks reporter Emily Russell talking with Monica Sandreski this morning on Northern Light. The two Republicans running to replace Elise Stefanik in Congress participated in their only scheduled debate last week ahead of the June primary. As Kara Chapman reports, both were on the attack.
Sticker Mule CEO Anthony Constantino and Assemblyman Robert Smolin took to the debate stage at the CBS 6 News studio in Schenectady Thursday evening. The jab started early, with Constantino criticizing what he sees as Smolin's lack of support for President Donald Trump.
The president, he's a Trump hater, and the only claim to fame he has is that some people that he's known for a long time support him. The citizens support me because they know I have a great business background, and I'm going to be incredible at representing our district. It's a massive district, and I'm an expert at representing large numbers of people and servicing them well.
Smolin hit back at Constantino, bringing up how the businessman was previously registered as a Democrat.
And it's interesting also that some of the things that he profits from are anti-police and anti-Semitic stickers that are very offensive. And what he's trying to do here is to buy this seat.
Constantino said there's a mechanism on Sticker Mule's website to report stickers that violate the company's community guidelines. During the second half of the debate, CBS 6 News anchor Tom Eschen asked each of the candidates specific questions about their backgrounds and campaigns. He brought up when Smolin was charged with a felony in 2018. The assemblyman was accused of double-dipping on a property tax exemption reserved for the primary residences of military veterans. He later pleaded guilty to a violation.
So why should veterans and the people of New York trust you after that?
Sure. Well, just like President Trump was persecuted by law enforcement for his taxes, it's happened repeatedly. The system was weaponized against me in my primary campaign in 2018.
Constantino said Smolin was the one who worked the system.
And because of his swampy connections, it got pled down to disorderly conduct. No one else watching this right now could do what he did and get it pled down to disorderly conduct. Everybody listening knows that. You can't trust this guy.
Eschen then asked Constantino about some controversial hires his campaign has made. That includes a man accused of murder in Nevada.
Why should constituents trust you to hire the right people if you're elected?
Sure, I've hired thousands of people over the years, and he's smearing me over a guy that worked for about a week.
Constantino said that employee's background wasn't heavily vetted because he wasn't an executive. That explanation wasn't good enough for Smolin.
If you're the CEO of a company, you're responsible for everything that goes. If you're running a campaign, you're responsible for everything that goes on that campaign.
Throughout the debate, the two actually agreed on multiple issues. They both want proper mental health resources for the district's veterans and farmers and support the U.S. war with Iran. They said they'd vote in favor of a proposed $70 billion increase for immigration enforcement, including ICE. During a rapid-fire round, Smolin and Constantino said they'd vote for the strict voter ID law known as the SAVE Act. They also agreed that Trump should be on a $250 bill if there is one. Eschen asked each of the candidates for their views on the outcome of the 2020 election.
Number one, Mr. Smolin, was the 2020 election stolen?
You know, there's a lot of problems.
Yes or no?
Yes, because there are a lot of problems in states that still need to be looked at.
Mr. Constantino, was the 2020 election stolen?
Mail-in ballot should be totally outlawed. Mail-in ballot should be totally outlawed.
Yes or no, was the 2020 election
Based on the mail-in ballot situation, mail-in ballot should be totally outlawed. I think we should look into that election very closely. Mail-in ballot should be totally outlawed.
You can watch the full debate on the CBS 6 Albany YouTube channel.
We have more news all the time at our website, ncpr.org. Our music today is by the great Adirondack musician Dan Duggan, who died on Friday. He was an institution in the music scene, and he'll be missed. I'm David Summerstein, North Country Public Radio.